Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Big Money Talks. I'm Big Money Drew Nicholas, and behind me, as usual, are my three buddies here and my snowman. Um, I just wanted to say first, this is the last podcast I'll be doing before Christmas, so Merry Christmas for those who celebrate, and have wonderful holidays. Be safe. We have a lot of stuff going on right now. Wear these, please. Try to avoid people as best as you can. Just be safe, be safe. That's the best thing that I could say. I was going to do this week a top 5 list again of entrance music, but given everything that's happened since last Friday on SmackDown, I think I want to just talk about wrestling today. And it's not going to be the most positive podcast this week, because something that I said in my first podcast coming back was that I couldn't see why somebody would want to come back and talk about wrestling again when it's just not so well liked or well favored. Because the coronavirus has made wrestling just totally different from what it used to be just 9 months ago. And Impact is going strong without any crowds, without any crowd noise, any major Thunderdome type stuff. And the past couple of weeks that I was checking out Impact when Kenny Omega was on, it just seemed so different. So weird, because I didn't think I was going to talk about Impact first, but I wanted to hit on this topic. And the simple version of wrestling right now, I think it just works more, like I'm not very into like the whole Thunderdome thing that WWE does. I don't really care about that. In fact, when they started the Thunderdome, they had the Vince McMahon come out, and then Bray Wyatt came out, The Fiend, and then Retribution, I think. And it's just like, okay, it's just business as usual. It's not like, okay, there's screens with people's faces on them now, and a lot more like graphics and stuff like that. It's like, okay, it's whatever. And in fact, as time has gone on, I've started to not like the fake audience noise, because it's to be honest with you, it's for me, it's faker than wrestling. Like, okay, yes, wrestling is fake. We all know that. But the audience noise that WWE has been doing, it's got like an extra level of fake to it. So much so that it feels like it's just what Vince McMahon has wanted all along. Just that, like, I'm going to control the presentation of my shows in every aspect now. So, like, even crowd noise, he can control it now. And I'm just not into that anymore. When I watched Impact the last few weeks, it's surprising to me. It's like it's like going to an indie show and seeing the performers, and the performers just perform. That's it. There's no flashy graphics. They have a Tron, they have a video screen there, and they do the entrance stuff, and they have the entrance music, but there's no big, huge production to it, and there's no fake crowd cheering and booing, and it's better. It's actually better. I prefer it that way, which I didn't think I was gonna say. It's just better that way. It's showing that it doesn't need to have a crowd with an artificial response. Like, people are going to boo Roman Reigns. People are going to boo, Randy Orton. People are going to cheer Kevin Owens. People are going to cheer Sasha Banks. We all know that already. But see, and then there's like, all right. Let me not get ahead of myself. I'm wearing, speaking of Roman Reigns, I'm actually wearing my Roman Reigns shirt, show up and win. My new motto in life is to just show up and win. And hasn't been working out very well lately. Just, in multiple aspects. But we're working on it. 2021. 2021 is coming right around the corner. So I wanted to, now that I'm not doing my top 5 list of entrance musics, I want to hit on the positives. SmackDown, pay-per-view, Raw. Okay? SmackDown. I mean, come on. SmackDown, Kevin Owens, so defiant, not fearful of Roman Reigns and the Jey Uso at all. That's just really great. It's been so great. They buried him in this just pile of chairs and table pieces and ladders, and he still gets up at the end. That courageousness and that passion that he has, that fire in him. Kevin Owens is a wonderful, wonderful character, and I hope that they go with this, they keep going. And thankfully, as we found out on Raw, they will keep going with it, because Christmas Day, SmackDown, this Friday, they're going to have a steel cage match between Roman and Kevin Owens. So that should be a very exciting thing to watch. If TLC was anything to write home about, that's steel cage. This just adds that extra layer. And of course, Jey Uso's going to try and get in there anyway, because that's what happens. Hell in a Cell doesn't even prevent people from getting in sometimes. So yeah, I'm going to be really interested in seeing what happens for the steel cage match on SmackDown. The other things that happened on SmackDown, Billy Kay, I have to give, I just love, I hate that they split up the Iconics, but I love the comedic segments for Billy Kay. I think that's been just phenomenal. It really has. She's just got it. She is really good at comedic characters right now. Or I mean, not just right now, but when she was with Peyton Royce, also, like, she was really the comedic backbone of that. And I like what they're doing. Like, she has to put her her headshot resume paper, and she's giving it to people. And then they have a match. They tag with her. They do the match. She does something dumb. They get mad. They lose the match, and then she's got to do it again the next week. That's really funny. It's funny, and I really am enjoying that. So I hope that continues. Another very positive thing was the Sammy Awards segment on SmackDown. That was funny. Sammy giving himself the awards, and then the Superstar of the Year award goes to Big E. Of course, Big E, has a hand in that, as was telegraphed before the Sammy Award segment. And he comes out and thanks his mom, and it's so great, so wholesome, and keeps shoving Sammy out of the way. That was a great segment. I really enjoyed that segment, and because of that, we will be seeing on SmackDown this Friday, Christmas Day, a title match, intercontinental title match between Big E and Sami Zayn. It's about time, because I said back in July, Big E deserves an Intercontinental Championship run. He really does. He's just a larger than life character. He's so funny. I hate that they split these guys up. I hate that these guys were split up, but we gotta just roll with the punches right now, and we just gotta go with what we have. So anything else on SmackDown? I'm trying to think. Positive, at least. I don't think so. I mean, getting into like some of the negative stuff before I get to the worst thing, because that's something that I need to talk about. I think you know where I'm going with that. So Sasha and Carmella had their interaction again, and they did that whole sommelier, Reginald, his name is, thing where he grabs Sasha again, and then it just like that interference thing. It's got to stop. I said it in my recap on CageSideSeats.com. It's just that stupid babyface syndrome stuff that a lot of babyfaces do. And I'm just, no, please. And the worst thing, let's just get that out of the way. The worst thing, Bianca Belair losing to Bayley. Losing streak Bayley. Winning while Bianca had a winning streak for, I think it was about a full year. She won every match, with the exception of Survivor Series, but that they don't count Survivor Series. So I'm like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good, and they could do better than this. With Aleister Black had his winning streak, he just lost on a Raw, and they moved on. They didn't do anything. Like I just don't get it. You give people winning streaks, and then you don't even do anything with it. I don't understand that. Oh my goodness. Just like, no. Bianca won against Natty, and Bayley lost against Natty, just like within the past couple of weeks. And Natalya, she's fine. I'm not saying anything against her, but like, it's no. Bianca Belair should be the breakout star of the year. To me, she is the breakout star of the year. Every time she's on the screen, I love her. I love everything that she does. She, with the hair, the way she skips down to the ring, her outfits. She had a couple of weeks ago, she had like these shiny blue pants and this glitter, this blue glitter lipstick. She looks great. She sounds great. Her promos are awesome. You can't do stuff like this. She is a star. You want to build stars, don't you? Well, it doesn't seem like it these days. All right, let's get to TLC. And TLC was a fantastic show. TLC was a great show. It was an A show. Everything hit. There was barely any misses. The both TLC matches, tables, ladders, and chairs, with both top titles on Raw and SmackDown, were great. The Kevin Owens Roman Reigns one was violent. That was some delicious violence. Yeah, that was just wonderful. They almost murdered each other. Like it was insane. It was insane. And so and one really positive thing too that I want to mention about the other one with Drew and AJ, the cash-in. While cash-ins can be really stupid, it worked. It worked, and not only that, almost got Morrison away from the action. Gone, goodbye. No type of screwy finishes, no interferences. It was just at the end, it was Drew, it was AJ, it was Miz. They had a great back and forth, and Drew ended up retaining, and it was great. It was great. As soon as Miz ran down with that briefcase, I was like, oh no. And it exceeded my expectations. So I'm really happy that it worked out that way. Money in the Bank is done. Money in the Bank is done, Miz. I don't want to see this, I'm going to get the briefcase back because I didn't cash in. You cashed in. Stop it now. Every match, pretty much, at TLC was great. Even Carmella and Sasha, they didn't have the greatest interactions, as I mentioned. They kept doing that same thing where Reginald would interfere, Sasha would pay attention to him instead of Carmella, and then Carmella would attack, and that's how they end the show. So they had a really great match. And Sasha, man, her bumps were just brutal sometimes, really. I hope that she lives a long, healthy life. I really do. I don't want her to have any issues before she hits 35, because she just takes these incredible bumps. And Carmella did really well too. I did think Carmella did well. I'm not somebody that disses Carmella for wrestling ability. I think she does wrestle really well. And I hope that it continues positively. I don't know what they're going to do, now that the SmackDown title thing is over, the women's title, or maybe it's not over. I mean, we'll find out on Friday. They just keep going with these things. We'll see what happens. I was really happy to see the Hurt Business get the Raw Tag Team Championships. I wanted that to happen. I said that last week. And I said it on KChat Seats. I've said it on my Twitter. I've said it everywhere. And I'm glad. I'm really glad that it happened, because if they're really playing into that story that Cedric Alexander, or Prime Alexander as he's calling himself now, his head has just gotten so massive, his ego has gotten so massive that his promo on Raw, he's really coming into his own, and they're getting behind him, and he's getting that mic and he's talking, and it's great. He's sounding great. He's sounding natural, and it's a far away from those stupid promos that he was doing with Ricochet before he turned heel. So I'm really happy to see that. I want to see that story continue, because you can see that Bobby and Shelton and MVP to an extent are just, they're saying like, oh, something's going on here. This guy, looking like he is getting a little over his head, and it's great. It's great. So I hope that they continue with that, and it looks like they are going to continue with that. For New Day, I mean, New Day doesn't get hurt in a loss. They really don't. Um, they'll bounce back, of course. It's New Day. They're great. So I have no worries about them whatsoever. And the other thing I wanted to mention uh, with TLC was the mystery opponent for Asuka. Surprise, surprise. Charlotte Flair came back, and they won the tag team championships. Um, you know, I go back and forth on this because, like, immediately Charlotte's back, and then we're just going full force on the women's division again. It's a little fishy, a little fishy. It judging from what they said on Raw, now Asuka and Charlotte, the new tag team champions, now they're gonna be on SmackDown defending the titles. Oh, but Nia and Shayna were the tag team champions for a couple months, and they never showed their faces on SmackDown. That's a little suspect. Is it possible, really, that they put the whole Raw women's division and the whole company's tag team division, women's tag, on hold? I mean, it didn't seem like that Charlotte was always going to be the person, but I don't know. It just, that seems weird. It's like she wins and then immediately they're on SmackDown defending. I don't know. That's a little fishy to me. It is. And then, so let's move into Raw. Well, no, I'm sorry. There's one last thing that we need to talk about, and that is the main event of TLC, which was not a TLC, a T, an L, or a C. It was an Inferno match, a Firefly Inferno match, and Randy Orton committed murder. I mean, there's just nothing else that you can say about that. Randy Orton murdered the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't know where they go with this yet. I mean, Bray was on fire. He was literally on fire. And then Randy RKO'd him in the ring and lit his entire body on fire. Now, of course, it wasn't the Fiend. It wasn't Bray Wyatt. It was obviously a dummy, mannequin, something. But whew, that was a visual. That was a visual. The spiral of flames too, that was awesome. I hope they do that more somehow. I don't know how, because they're doing this conveniently because, it's Thunderdome and there's no actual people in the audience, so they can get away with stuff like this. But those spiral fire, the fire stuff was just incredible. That was a great visual. So I really like that. I really like that a lot. It was a match. It was a good match. It's not like it wasn't a good match. But see, I mean, look, I'm smiling and I'm laughing because it was a good match, and I don't know if where does the Fiend rank on a list of people who have been set on fire on WWE programming? It's up there. His whole body was on fire. So, say what you will. It was, pre-taped and it wasn't really the person, but what they're putting out there is that the Fiend was burned to death, really. So I think Bray Wyatt's Fiend has got to be right up on top of of that list of people who've been lit on fire on WWE. So, all right, so Raw. TLC was a great show. It had great momentum. It had great matches. They told the stories right. And then Raw happened. Raw was abysmal. It was a standard holiday show that sucked. It sucked. It was so bad. Oh my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. Everyone's holiday jokes were terrible. Everyone's promo. I mean, God, where do I even begin with this? Where do I even begin with this? Uh, the highlights. Let's talk about the highlights. The very few highlights that there were. Cedric Alexander, like I said, his ego is massive. You could see the way that he was talking about himself in that manner. Prime Alexander. That's a great catchphrase for himself. Prime Alexander. I love that. He was talking about himself, and then Bobby and Shelton. He interrupted Shelton, and the both of them were just like, this guy, So I think that that's going to go somewhere. I hope that they continue with that. That was great. The other thing I liked, while I didn't like what happened right after it, so I'll hit on that miss as soon as I finish with what I liked here. Alexa came back, and Randy did his spiel, and then they did the Fiend lights going out stuff, and Randy got out of the ring, and they made it seem like, oh, is the Fiend back? Is Bray back? But no, Alexa comes out. Well, not that she came out of anywhere. She was just in the ring when the lights came back on with this whole swing set and a rocking horse, I think. And it looked great. It actually looked great. It was really one of the highlights of the show. And she said, the Fiend has been molted into the earth, and if he comes back, if he's home, and when he comes back, if he comes back, he's going to be like a totally different Fiend, like the worst Fiend that we've ever seen. So, okay. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with that. Whenever something happens with that, maybe they'll hold off until the Royal Rumble. That would be nice to hold off until the Royal Rumble, and then we'll see, because something's happening in a couple of weeks where I feel like they might hotshot, do something really quickly, bring the Fiend back. Legends Week in a couple of weeks. Woof. So what I didn't like about the Randy Alexa stuff was not the Randy Alexa stuff itself, but what happened right after, when the lights come back on and you've got the announcers there, and they just have this dumbfounded look on their faces. And what just happened? I don't know how to explain what happened. Oh my goodness. Oh, stop it. Stop that crap. Really? Somebody was just lit on fire last night. What are you doing? Like, that's that directive from WWE that, like, like they'd never seen that before. The Fiend does his stuff every week. The fire at the Inferno match, everything that happens, you're surprised. I don't know. I don't know how to explain. Stop it. Just stop it, please. That was so stupid. It took me out of the segment. It's like there's those little voices, the like quivered voices. You're in WWE. You've seen what happens in WWE. We, the audience, have seen what happens in WWE. Don't play stupid. Come on. That was just dumb. It really was. And that was just a long, that's just on the top of a long list of things that were just dumb last night. They've leaned into Matt Riddle being a stoner now. He's talking about getting toasted in his promos. Okay, fine. But then they're making him talk about carbon something, and like it had to be one of the most obviously scripted promos of the year. It was just awful. It was awful. Whatever Jeff said afterwards, it was bad too. I don't even remember it. I'm happy that I don't remember it. It was bad. It was bad. Like the things that they do with Drew McIntyre, I just don't get it. Like, he's a great babyface. He's had multiple times throughout the year since he won at WrestleMania where he just shows this no nonsense attitude. He's looking right at the camera. He's great. But then they do shit like last night. See? That's the first time I dropped that word. And I promise you, it's not going to happen very often. That stuff was awful. It was awful. He's coming out and he's reciting the nightmare after TLC, like AJ and Miz and Morrison, the nightmare before TLC last Monday. Dumb. Stupid. Come on. Like, and then the Keith Lee and Sheamus have to be brought into it, and their match later on at night, you know, the match was okay, but it was supposed to be a street fight. And they're all up on the apron, tagging in and out. There's one point where Sheamus is on the top rope, and I think maybe to do an axe handle or something, which I think it was The Miz. And AJ's going up to him on the apron, and he's just like, oh, I wanna attack you, but I can't. But you can. It's a no DQ match. It's a street fight. Am I crazy? You're not gonna get DQ'd if you throw him off of the turnbuckle, off the rope. So what's going on there? And so they win, the baby faces win, and then because Keith Lee, you know, they telegraphed the whole night, Keith Lee and Sheamus, they can't get along, and then they got along in the match, and then Sheamus was gonna, I think, road kick Miz or Morrison, I didn't even remember who was in the ring, and Keith Lee tags himself in, gets the win with the Spirit Bomb, and then Sheamus bro kicks him afterwards. And Drew McIntyre is surprised. I went to bat for you. Well, I mean, hello, they were fighting all friggin' night. Of course that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Everybody knew that was going to happen. God, it was so dumb. It was so dumb. You know, they brought Angel Garza back. Okay. Not, you know, they took Drew Gulak out of the 24/7 title scene to just get squashed by Angel Garza, who hasn't been on TV in months. Okay, whatever. I mean, it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been like 4 or 5 months. It hasn't been like Charlotte time. But, you know, still. Yeah. Grand Metalik lost to Jackson Riker. His first match on on the main show because he wasn't wrestling when he was in the Forgotten Sons. The highlight of that was Elias sitting on the turnbuckle, strumming the guitar and singing. That was funny. That was all I cared about. Yeah, it was a bad show. It was a terrible, terrible show. And it did nothing for me. I mentally checked out like halfway through, and I don't think I had done that yet this year. It was just bad. The promos were bad. Mandy and Dana coming out in the beginning of the show, and the holiday jokes, like I said before, just oh oh, it was awful. It was so bad. But next week, uh, I don't know. I'm just not excited to see Raw. Not excited to see Raw next week. This was just a total deflating episode. Um, oh, and the last thing that I wanted to mention, Ricochet keeps losing to members of Retribution now, who apparently just don't care about destroying WWE as a whole, as a company anymore. They just care about these specific people now, because ever since they got drafted, which was just dumb, they get drafted and then, okay, oh, now we're just focusing on the Hurt Business. Now we're just focusing on Ricochet. Reckoning focusing on Dana Brooke. And that's it. Now it's all about just making Ricochet part of Retribution. And then Ali and T-Bar last night said, like, oh, this doesn't end until you join Retribution. You know, we're always going to be fighting you until you join Retribution. So you either join or this never ends. Well, no, actually, it does end. Or rather, it would end, but it won't, because WWE keeps booking these matches. We're not stupid. Ali isn't just fighting. Ali isn't having Retribution fight Ricochet every week because he can. It's because they're booking the match. They book these matches every week. They trot Adam Pearce out every other week to make matches. Or, you know, if you're Charlotte Flair, apparently you can make matches because she did that at the beginning of the show. Or if you're King Corbin, you can make matches on SmackDown. But what I don't understand what they're trying to do here. You know, how stupid do they think that we are? Adam Pearce is this WWE management guy on both shows. He makes matches nearly every week on one show. You see him. He sanctions a match. It's not Ali sanctioning matches. So if WWE didn't want Mace, T-Bar, Slapjack, any part of Retribution facing Ricochet, they would just not book the match. So that was just, you know, Ali, and I like I've said every week, I love Ali. And I was hoping that him being the leader of Retribution was going to be a good thing. But it's just, no, it's not. Retribution is not good. You know, individually they have these like decent moves and they wrestle well. But the whole story is just bad. Like most things on Raw. Like, oh, you know, the ratings. I'm not a ratings person, so you're not going to hear me talk ratings. I promise you that. It's just, the ratings suck for Raw. They had the worst ratings ever last Monday. This is your answer to that? 2 weeks from now, a Legend show? That's your answer for that? It's Vince's answer for everything. Bring the Legends back. Have Goldberg win the title. It's oh God. I was hoping, the positive momentum would carry from TLC to Raw, but it's just not. It didn't. It was bad. It had an A show on Sunday and a D show on Monday. They just can't carry that momentum. It's terrible. And I just worry, as many others do, that this is not going to end. It's not going to end until Vince McMahon is no longer on top. So, yeah. So, while there were great things on SmackDown and great things on TLC, Raw just sunk it. It sunk it. It was bad. So, before I just continue ranting and making this totally negative, I am in, now I could say I am in Alex Pulowski's negativity. I had my own sour grapes moment tonight. It was not after last night's show. It was not good. So you're welcome, Alex. I joined you this week. Sour grapes, Andrew. It was bad. Sour grapes this week. So anyway, that was the show, because I'll just keep going for an hour, and I don't want to do that. I want to bring something else. It was sour. I talk about the good stuff. No like special thing this week. We're going to try next week. I will look into the top 5 entrance music for the wrestlers. You could follow me at Big Money Drew on Twitter, and like, subscribe, do that YouTube thing for me. As much as I kind of didn't want to talk about wrestling because of how bad Raw was, I came on here and I feel better. I do feel better now after doing it. So like I said, follow me at Big Money Drew, like and subscribe. And I want to actually just mention really quickly, you can find my recaps, Raw, TLC, SmackDown, at CageSideSeats.com, at CageSideSeats on Twitter. And I just wanted to throw in a special call for anybody who happens to see this today. Tonight, I think it's at 9 p.m. on Fightful Wrestling's YouTube channel. They're going to be doing a special holiday episode. And all of the super chats that they do are going to go to the non-contracted staff at Fightful. And the owner of Fightful, the primary owner, Jimmy Van, is going to match it. So I'm going to be in there. I love all the people over at Fightful. Everyone's great at Fightful. And yeah, I want to also shout out Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, Throwback 27. Go follow him at Throwback. I'm gonna look that up actually, because I don't want to get that wrong. Let me do it on my phone. Throwback, his Twitter account. He's a good follow. He does his own show on Tuesdays at 8. He's a great guy. So I would highly recommend following him. Here we go. At Throwback 978. Okay. He's at Throwback 978 on Twitter. And then he has the link to his YouTube channel there too. Go subscribe to him. And there's a couple of people that I can shout out right now. At Joel Pearl, Tim and Joel, they do a great podcast on Thursdays. Joel Pearl's at Joel Pearl on Twitter. And Tim is at Tim Stone P on Twitter. So go follow them. They're great guys. Um, so many people. I mean, I have a list here actually because um, Jobber JJ, he put everybody in and on like a follow thing yesterday. It was really awesome, Jobber. Thank you so much for that. Jobber JJ is at Best Jobber on Twitter, and you can follow uh, Jeremy Lambert and Joe Holbert from Fightful at Jeremy Lambert 88 at Joe Holbert, Denise Salcedo at underscore Denise Salcedo. She is the one of the greatest people in wrestling media right now, and just podcast. She's everywhere. She's everywhere. She does her own shows. She's on Fightful. She's on Wrestling Observer. She does podcasts. She's great. Rob Wilkins at Rob Wilkins. He does great stuff over at Fightful. He just started doing stuff. Rob, you're doing great. Keep it up, guy. Hannah, your Queen Hannah. She is wonderful. She's great follow. Do not mess with her on Twitter. She will clap back, and everyone will clap back too, especially me. I defend. Don't be a jerk. Oh my goodness. Tim Traver, Tim underscore Traver on Twitter. Tim, I hope you're doing good, buddy. I know you had your surgery and you're having another surgery on your ankle. I hope everything goes well with you. Rest up. Whom else? Anakin, the other Joel. Joel, Anakin, and Joel Pearl. Anakin is not his last name. But Anakin JMT on Twitter, he bakes cookies. They look delicious. I might want to have one day. So please, you might want to. I think maybe we'll talk. We'll talk. Wild Boy, at It's Wild Boy on Twitter. Total license to be horny on Maine. Total license. He's a funny guy. Follow him on Twitter. You're a cool guy, Wild Boy. Am I forgetting anybody? I don't think so. Follow Sean Ross Sapp at Sean Ross Sapp. He's a great guy. Follow Fightful on Twitter at Fightful Wrestle, I believe. You can just type Fightful in and you'll get them. Follow Alex Pulowski at Alex Sour Graps. Support everybody. Everyone's great. Everyone's doing great stuff. Support. And you know what too? I want to give a special shout out as well to one of my counterparts over Cage Side Seats, the lovely Claire Elizabeth at Rev underscore Claire. Claire is a wonderful person. She does Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-view live blogs on Cage Side. Really, really wonderful. Follow her. You're gonna have a good time following her. My goodness. I think I'm done now. I'm going overboard. I love you all. Happy holidays. And until next time, bye for now.